thank you so much for sharing your time with us here on the show. This is also the busiest season, the busiest time of the year, and that's why we remind you to keep yourself nourished. You know, sometimes when we're so busy, it's so easy to just skip meals, right? But never ever skip breakfast, because that is the start of your day. That will kickstart your day, actually. And that is why we want to thank McDonald's for making it easy for us, especially those in Southern California, to make sure that we have the nourishment that we need in order to start our day. They are starting us off with a big breakfast, of course. Yummy, very delicious, but at the same time, they have something new. They have pastries to help us with sugar to give us energy for the day, as well as coffee. I don't know about you, but I love coffee. And science tells us that 1 cup of coffee a day is actually not very harmful. In fact, it may be beneficial as well. It may have some benefits. And McDonald's is making it easy for us to enjoy our coffee by guaranteeing that if you don't like the taste of the coffee, they will replace it, no questions asked. For those in Southern California, make sure that you take advantage of this opportunity being offered by McDonald's with a freshly brewed coffee. Back here on the show, we are talking about the season of hope. We all know that hope is something that springs eternal. They say that, right? And also a famous Philippine national hero once said that the youth is the hope of the nation. And that's why we look to the youth as well as we usher in this season of hope. And so we open our program with the story of a Filipino American who has made his name in the field and the genre of operatic music. He is well known, well established as an opera singer, but he still hopes for more. He hopes to express himself in another genre of music. Here is the upcoming star, Kurt Tihamo. He is so hot.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents under the tree.
Congratulations on being signed
Thank you
by
very
a
much.
record label, right?
Yeah.
How advantageous is it to get signed? Because on the other hand, I'm also hearing from other musicians that because of social media, there's a lot more avenues now to self-produce and self-publish, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had a single out before I signed with Curve that I produced myself, you know, and it is true, like with social media and all of these different avenues, it's really easy to just put yourself out there. There's a lot of artists who have made wonderful careers that way, and I see it more as when you're an independent musician, you kind of just take all the help that you can get. The only way that anybody gets ahead in this world really is if we help each other, and it's wonderful to have that help of people who know the industry and stuff, you know.
I also feel like it's kind of a validation for people like you, right? Because for instance, there are some artists who keep sending their demos to different places and hear nothing back. Mm-hmm. How did it happen for you?
I basically just kept saying yes to things, and I kept trying to apply myself to any sort of outreach or any cause, doing a lot of outreach programs and outreach concerts for Filipino American Symphony Orchestra. And that led to me working with Young Philams for Biden. And then it kind of just kept going from there until eventually I got introduced to Curve.
Even before this, You also have had a very illustrious career at such a young age as an opera singer.
So that was like the first avenue that I really decided to pursue especially when I decided to study music in college. I wanted to get into music school, and I was the best at singing, so singing was what I was going to do. And I got into school, and then people were just like, "Oh, you're pretty good at this classical singing thing, and this opera thing." And so I just kept doing that. I've, done a great deal in that world as well.
I also like that you've done a great deal in opera, but you didn't stop there because now you're doing a different genre. Is that common for musicians like yourself?
Maybe in the past it was not as common, but nowadays I think like the world is becoming just so much more interconnected, and people are discovering like there's like a renaissance of artists just being multifaceted and just being interested in different genres.
Which one do you like better though?
I view them both as like different parts of me and different ways to express myself. You know, when I'm writing songs, it's very like deeply personal, and it's purely like from the inside out, you know. In classical music and opera, I get to collaborate with people and interpret other people's work as well. I kind of just love music, and any form of music that I can do, that I get the chance to do, I take it as a blessing.
So,
I'm just grateful.
I love that. Where is this love for music coming from?
Well, my dad plays piano, and he composes music as well. And so music has just kind of like always been part of my life. Being Filipino, there's just like music kind of just integrated into your life already, like just a staple of my life, you know. You go to a Filipino family party and there's karaoke, you know what I mean? And like everyone is just so like really connected through the music. So that's just kind of always been like part of my identity.
So were you the kid that always had to perform in front of everyone, in front of your titos and titas?
Yeah, that was my talent. You know, it's like, oh, okay, Kurt, you're gonna come play piano for the family now. I'm like, no, Mom, I don't want to.
Right. One thing about being Filipino is parents.
Yeah.
And I know that your mom's Filipino, and I know that a lot of Filipino parents, you know, growing up, they encourage the arts, but then as a career, they frown upon it.
Right.
And they're not as open. What was it like for you?
For me, it was, I'm very lucky that my mom did recognize that as like a pattern within the community. And she's very conscious about those kinds of things, and she really did not want to like force us into anything. She was like very like, okay, if there was any sort of like push, it was like, whatever you choose to do, you're gonna do it. All right, and you're gonna be a professional. You're not gonna give up halfway through, you're just gonna do it. All right, so Kurt, if you're gonna do this music thing, like go all in. Right. And so that's kind of just been one of the like real inciting forces and inspirational forces in my life, you know, to have like, I'm very lucky to have like the support of like both my parents and going into the arts. I mean, of course, like, you know, there was a point where she was like, you know, I was like, Mom, maybe I should get a music business degree. And she was like, oh, wonderful. But you know, when I graduated with my classical degree and I decided to go to grad school, she was just like, all right, we're doing this and we're going to put full force behind this. And I was like, Mom, I want to write songs. And she's like, good, cool, we're doing that too. And we're going to put everything we can into it. And so that's just kind of how it's been like my entire life. So I'm very lucky.
So from piano, when did you discover the singing?
So, I mean, I always liked singing. It just would never seem like to be like my instrument, it's just something I did. And then I guess I didn't really discover like singing as like a personal instrument until I was 13. My parents bought me a guitar for my birthday. So I'm like a walking, talking cliche. And when you get the guitar, you discover like, oh, I can write songs. You know, there are people that are using this instrument just to like write songs in their bedroom. And I discovered there was like, I remember circa like 2006, 2007, like on YouTube, there were all these singer-songwriters and like, and especially like Asian Americans and Filipino Americans doing like really amazing things. Like there was like Adria Rafael, Gabe Bondoc, Jeremy Passion. And that was just like that was like an eye-opening thing for me to discover around that time. Just like, one, because like, you know, like in the media, it's not like there were a bunch of like Filipinos like running around, you know, like in a lot of representation in that way, like in like kind of mainstream media. And so when I discovered these musicians and they were just writing these songs and putting them on the internet, I was like, I could do that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's when I kind of figured that out. And then I didn't realize like maybe the more dramatic or like all the colors of my voice until like I was like in senior year in high school, and I decided to I wanted to like get involved with the music program at my school at Granada Hills Charter High School, and I joined choir. And the biggest thing is I auditioned for the musical. Yeah, they were doing Les Mis, and I had like already kind of been taking voice lessons just to like help myself out because I was in a band and stuff, so I just wanted to learn how to sing for my rock band.
Right.
And I was cast as Javert in Les Mis when I was 17.
Yes, yes.
And yeah, that was just like from then I just like discovered like, wow, theater, singing, performing, acting, just being in front of like large crowds of people and like pouring my heart out to them. That is like kind of just who I am. That's like the thing that up until that point had kind of been missing, and then I discovered it and I was like, okay, I got to do this for the rest of my life.
I love that. But going back to what your mom said, don't quit or don't give up halfway through until you've done it. Like, was there ever a time when you wanted to give up?
Yeah, many times. It's been, you know, but I mean, that's like kind of like how it is like when you're a performer or when you're trying to, you know, be a musician or any sort of artist or, you know, going into like non-traditional like fields of work. It's like, you know, there are going to be so many times, there are going to be so many ups and downs, and so many times where you hit a wall and you think this is it. This is just I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to go home.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pack it up and I'm just going to, you know, do something else. And yeah, like if you are, you know, pursuing that career, that's just going to happen. That's like a fact of life. You're just going to run into that. And so there was a time when I thought that I was just gonna like, you know, just have a desk job and just kind of like, okay, that was fun for like college and now I'm done. Now I have to grow up and now I have to do this like other thing. You know, sometimes you get to that crossroads and you just have to like choose to keep going. You know what I mean? Even though you don't even know if you have a path forward and you just keep doing it. I remember in 2016, I had graduated and I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I'm totally lost. And I went to go see Gabe Bondoc at Hotel Cafe. And it was like, I was just like, whoa, I finally get to see this guy perform because I had never gotten to see him. And he was like my songwriting idol growing up. And then after the show, he was just like standing there and alone. And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to him.
Right.
And he gave me this like pep talk of just like, you know, like, yeah, it's gonna be hard sometimes and you just gotta like, realize all the ways that you can apply yourself as an artist and a musician, and you know, he just gave me that talk out of nowhere, and like I was like, yeah, you know what, he's right, and so I just like kept going, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, not to.
So where do you draw energy from now? Where do you get encouragement when it's tough? What keeps you going?
I mean, I'm surrounded by a wonderful community of people now that, you know, that I kind of, you know, these are people that came into my life, but also people that I kind of curated for my life. I think it's like really important to just like make sure that part of self-care is making sure that you have that support system and that community behind you. There are ups and downs, and just remember that there are always going to be ups, like no matter what.
Right.
You know, the ups are coming and they're on the horizon, and just keep looking forward and just keep pressing forward. You know, that's like a really difficult skill to acquire and to develop, but it's like a really important one, I think, for musicians and performers too. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
Also, you pay the price for the life you choose. If you choose a life like this, you have to pay the price for it.
Yeah.
What have you paid so far? What are the sacrifices you've had to make in order to get to this point in your career?
Well, you know, there are some like kind of like maybe like things that we think are like basic life things that like
you can live without.
Yeah, right. That you just kind of have to choose to live without.
Yeah.
It's like I have a bunch of friends that are like married now. They have kids. They have houses. You know what I mean? They're going on that kind of track of their life. And I am choosing to kind of forgo that. And you know, sometimes for a lot of people, some people are lucky; they get both. You know, some people also they have to make that sacrifice. They have to make that choice.
Or also defer. It doesn't have to be forgo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're so young.
Yeah.
I mean, especially after your single gets out, gonna get promoted, I'm sure you're gonna get like, that wouldn't be a problem, right?
Yeah, like later on, you know what I mean?
the single is gonna come out, it's gonna get promoted, you're gonna get a lot of write-ups, and so people will want to know more about you. Who's the real Kurt? What are the top 3 things that people maybe don't know about that you can share with us?
What will be evident with like the rest, like all my songwriting and stuff, is I'm like a big softie. You know, I really am. Like I'm all like mushy and gushy on the inside.
Right.
Like,
Do you cry at movies?
you know, it's actually sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I almost take it as practice for like acting and stage. I purposefully cry during like the sad scenes of movies. Like I'm like, no, I'm going there right now because I'm going there with this actor because this is going to help me access this later.
Oh, that's
you know?
awesome, right?
Or you know,
see,
like,
that's one thing you wouldn't get asked.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
After this.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. And I guess the second thing is I'm really into movies, and I'm really, I'm a big nerd.
Okay.
About a lot of things. The third one, it's funny that I'm so mushy and I'm so like nerdy, but I also really love combat sports. I'm a fight fan. I really love watching MMA and boxing.
Right, on the flip side.
Yeah,
right.
like that's just like the total
that's
opposite.
so extreme.
You know, I was one of those kids that like couldn't sit still and couldn't concentrate on things, and so like all my cousins were like really into basketball and football and all these like stats and all these numbers and all these like players and all these things you had to keep track of, and I was just like, I can't. That's way too much. That's like math for me.
Right.
Like that's
so let's
too much.
just hit.
Yeah, but like you know, like
what's on the horizon for you?
right now, we've released the single "You and Me," and we're promoting that as much as possible. And I am currently writing more songs, and gonna see where that takes us from there. And at some point, hopefully, I get to go to the Philippines and perform. Yeah.
Go ahead, talk to your fans and your future fans and your current fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, hello everyone, and thanks for listening. And I'm just grateful to anyone who identifies or connects with the music in any way. It's it's an amazing thing that human beings do. That we create music and we understand it, and it conveys emotion and connection between and empathy between all of us, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. And anybody that is taking part in my music is thank you so much. It's a blessing.
So what is the signature Kurt Tejamo brand of music in one word?
Honest.
Love that. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. More power to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.